Hey, Gabriel.
Hey, Gaybros Jose.
Where are we today?
I'm in Palm Springs. Where are you?
I'm also in Palm Springs, 3 feet away from you right now.
Fantastic.
Yeah, probably not the safest choice, but yeah.
One of us, we won't say who, tested positive for COVID 3 days ago.
We assume that probably that person is better now.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But we don't know. We don't care. We're so rarely together.
Yeah,
We'll just take our chances.
Yeah. And we needed to record. It's like we couldn't actually, with help from the audience, We're doing it for you, single person listening,
You're
for
welcome.
the listener. But what did we watch this time?
So this was my pick, right?
I think so.
I chose The Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie by Buñuel.
What year is this from?
72.
Oh, 72. So
Yeah.
it's like one of the latest ones.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that is like next to the last or something of his
Wow,
movies.
he went out with a bang.
Yeah. So why did you pick this movie?
I have zero recollection about why I picked this movie. What did we watch last?
The Exterminating Angel.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah. And I think that you were a bit more of I think that this is the same story. But Discriminating Angel was a decade before this.
But also, it's the same as Viridiana?
No, it's not the same as Viridiana, dude. But yes, this was your pick. I guess that I have to try to summarize this. A very surreal movie. I'm not going to go into all of the details, but basically follows the story, the adventures of a group of friends that they are trying to have dinner together. And they're like a succession of vignettes. In every single vignette, they're trying to have dinner, but for whatever random reason, they can't. It's like maybe one of them is like, oh, we got the day wrong. Another one is like, oh, we went to have dinner at this place and someone died in there. Or they actually go to a tea salon and they don't have tea or coffee or anything.
And also, they're sitting down to have dinner, and there are war games that the army just shows up, and they're like, well, we hope the house survives.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if we need to actually do like any kind of spoiler warning or anything.
No, this is 54 years old?
Yeah, I think that is enough.
52.
Yeah. But it's 2 hours, they don't have dinner.
Never.
No, and it's like there are several sequences that they are dreams, but I like that Buñuel doesn't tell you that they are dreams. Is that because we were watching yesterday, me and my boyfriend, we were watching Belle de Jour, and he does the same thing. I'm like, here you go, and I sing until it gets like really, really weird, and then you say, this has to be a dream. And then the character wakes up, and it's the same thing that happens here. It's like some of the sequences start like becoming like more and more bizarre until someone wakes up.
And towards the end of the film, there are dreams within dreams.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to name the film something like Inception because he understood the audience might be smart enough to get that.
Yeah. But I don't think that there is anything. I mean, all of the characters are a bit more of portray of high class, high society. Let's say one of them is ambassador
To
for
a
Miranda,
fictional South American country.
Yeah, that it looks like it's a banana republic, basically. That he's being threatened by terrorists. But we don't know.
And he's smuggling cocaine in his diplomatic bag when he travels.
Yeah. Oh, and his friends are also like as sketchy as he is, basically. There is also like this girl. I'm not completely sure what her role is because like you're not the wife of anyone.
She's the naughty sister. That's how I read
sister.
how she was referred to in a review. I think the characters in this film are they're very stereotypical, which is fine because of the tone of this film. Like, it's very satirical, like nothing is supposed to be taken seriously. And actually, when we were mentioning all the interruptions so that they couldn't have dinner, the best one is when they finally sit down with a colonel, in the military. All the walls fall away, and they find out they're on a stage.
Oh yeah,
and they're super stressed that they don't know the words to the
lines.
plays that they're in, and they're like, I don't know the words.
And they have like the guy like trying to say the lines, but they start like getting stressed and they run away.
Everyone boos, and they're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. I like the other one when they're like closer to really have dinner. That is like some bad people like come in and start like killing them all. But it's like one of them actually rolls under the table and is like just eating a ham. And it's like, I'm not concerned right now about surviving, I'm concerned about eating.
So I have to say, this is the second time I've seen this film. The first time in maybe 15, 20 years. I remember loving it. I remember being very impacted by the scene when they're on the stage.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is this? This is amazing.
Yeah.
But I have to say that this is not a film that I feel like I can grasp without the guidance of people that know more than me about cinema. So I read several essays about this, and I think I get it. I don't think you have to get it to enjoy it. I think it's a very, very entertaining film, but it's smarter than me, I guess I'll say.
Okay, can you explain it to me then?
No, I can't. So the essay that explained the film the most about me said this was all about what the interruptions are about. So this is supposed to be upper middle class. They're like diplomats, and I would say they're upper class, but according to everything I've read, this is supposed to be a satire of the middle class. But every interruption is like death that fucks up middle class, and then it's like war just comes, and they're like, well, I guess this is fine. Or all of the interruptions are apparently supposed to be what the film is about, and how that impacts the middle class, but how naive they are to understand those interruptions. And from that perspective, I'm like,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was interesting, super interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think about it from that perspective, because it's true, it's like there are vignettes, but at the end, it's like what it takes. It's like at the end, it's the interruption. It's like, you know, after 20 minutes of the movie, you already know. It's like, okay, there's going to be a pattern. There's going to be like a sequence of we almost have dinner, or we are preparing for having dinner, and dinner doesn't happen for one reason or another. But then there are other scenes, like when the ambassador kidnaps. I don't even know how to say it. Like, just finds the terrorist, and I just gets her into the house, and there is like that play back and forth between them that is not dinner related.
But that's a dream. That's not like in the current tense. Do you remember? Because he kills her at the end, and then he wakes up.
Is that one of the dreams? Sorry, I may have forgotten like that part.
Yeah, because somebody woke up and he's like, oh, he told his wife, I had the worst dream. The colonel whoever killed the terrorist. And she's like, what? Go to sleep. You're too silly.
No, but that was like, the dream scene is like when they invited him, all of them, to the house of the colonel after the maneuvers.
That's one dream, but there's like 15 dreams in
Yeah,
this
yeah,
one.
there is like a lot of them. Yeah, I didn't remember that specific one being a dream, because that was... Yeah, the other part about like the guy having an affair with a wife.
Like, was that real?
I don't know.
But then those same two characters are at a party, and one insults the fictional country of Miranda, and the ambassador gets super, super upset and just shoots him.
Yeah, but
and
that's
that was
a
a
dream.
dream.
That one was a dream. It's like, and the funny thing is, like, who wakes up thinking about this is not any of the characters involved on that discussion. You know, it's not about like the ambassador, like just feeling like, oh my god, I had to defend the honor of my country. So it makes it like even more confusing. It's like, I like this movie, but also at the same time is what you said, is that maybe I'm not smart enough for just like grasping like the complete, you know, like power of it. When I feel like the Exterminating Angel or even like Belle de Jour that we were watching yesterday, I feel like they are more straightforward. I mean, they have like a symbology and anything, a critique to the middle, high class, middle, upper class. But this one, it felt like, okay, yeah, this is a critique to them. They are like just being very stupid, very obnoxious. The scene when they prepare the martini and they call the chauffeur for, it's like, oh, can you try this? And you can see me, it's like, such a simple tone.
But that was one of the best scenes that I feel illustrated that this was like a judgment of the upper or high class. It's like, oh, look, they think that the worst thing you can do is drink a dry martini wrong, but then they have all these problems and they're super fucked up and they embarrass themselves by like rejecting a priest because he was in the wrong clothes, and then when he has the right clothes,
like, that's very on the face.
That's
very on the face too. Or the priest like just shooting the other guy. That's like, yeah, I will give you the string. How's it called? Like the final.
Oh, the last rites.
The last rites.
And then he finds out that guy murdered his parents.
Yep. And then he goes and kills. Yeah. So it's true. I think there is a bit more of ridiculizing them, or just like showing the kind of hypocrisy that there is on just like giving value to the wrong kind of things.
So I didn't know until you said this that this is one of his last films.
I think.
So you told me that he gave up his Spanish citizenship during the Franco regime.
Yeah.
Went to Mexico and then went to France. So his last final films are French, right?
Yeah.
So we just saw Poor Things, by Yorgos Lanthimos, where we think that he's had so many like awards and recognition in the last few years that studios gave him money and was like, do whatever you want. And he, we think, fulfilled his like insane vision of whatever he really wanted to make films about. I wonder if the tone and the chaoticism and the randomness of this is what Buñuel wanted to do his entire career, and he was at the end and he's like, I'm just going to make this fucking weird-ass film. And maybe there's no meaning to it. Maybe, like, he has nothing to say that's more interesting than we can project onto it.
No, maybe that's the case. Maybe it's not. I still think that it's a movie that I was thinking like half through it that is like, hey, this could have been a theater play. And when they opened the stage, and when they actually opened the stage, it's like, oh,
it is
it's a theater play. Actually, they thought about it. One thing that is sad of that is that I think that they checked a trailer and they had that scene on the trailer how it actually opened, like the curtains there. I'm like, dude, is that this would have been like a very over the top like shock, you know?
That would have oversold the film's absurdism to me, but I understand that it's iconic. That scene is iconic.
Yeah, but it's like I was just expecting it to happen. So when they step into the room and it's like, oh, actually that's painted in the wall. It's not a real wall, you know. Is that you can just like detect that it's like, hey, this is really like a stage. This is where this is going to happen.
But regardless of whether or not either of us are smart enough to understand this film, it's a fun watch. I really enjoyed it. It's super entertaining. There's a scene where they're all trying to have lunch. They're trying to eat, and the two hosts sneak away to have sex. And they just immediately assume it's because the police are coming to arrest them because they're all criminals. They're all super immoral. And I was like, this is hilarious. Even if I don't get it, I don't get the big picture, it's funny. It's a really good film.
Yeah. No, it's enjoyable to watch. And I already giving away one of the questions. Is like I watched it with my parents. And actually, my father really enjoyed it. My mother was like, this is really silly and doesn't make too much sense. Then I had to agree.
But were they fans of like Viridiana, like the earlier Buñuel?
My father, yes. My father, he really likes Buñuel, you know. So, and they know, you know, like from historical context and everything, so they can relate a bit to some of the topics, you know, because they were alive for these times.
Would you consider yourself, because you're from Spain, part of the class that Buñuel is making fun of?
I don't think that we were that rich, honestly. No, I don't think so. Because honestly, this doesn't feel like medium. This feels like high class.
Yeah, like ambassadors are not typically just like your average like middle class.
You know, and it's like, hey, you know, it's like, please, the maid is bringing the gardener here. It's like, no, this is not medium class. Maybe in France it is, you know. But
everything is better in France.
Yeah. But not like, how do you say, not there. But yeah, no, I like it. I appreciate it. I think that is like one of those movies that I can see why it's so iconic, why people know about it, why people have talked about it like for years, and what is like the influence of Buñuel. Like through this movie, The Exterminating Angel, Viridiana, many others, is like, hey, this, without this, we wouldn't have David Lynch. And I'm pretty sure that we said this like the last time when we were talking about The Exterminating Angel. But even like watching this, it just makes me put in perspective like other creators nowadays and says like, you don't have that much to say.
You stole it from Buñuel. I didn't want to bring David Lynch up because I feel like we bring him up in every podcast. But
we can bring up Lars von Trier if you want.
No, I would prefer to talk about Lars. But when I was watching this film, I was like, holy shit. When we watched Time of the Wolf, Hour of the Wolf? Time of the Wolf? The Bergman one.
The Bergman one? Okay, yeah. That's super
When I was watching that, I was like, holy shit, David Lynch like saw this film and took big portions of it.
Yep.
When I was watching this, I was like, holy god. Like David Lynch took his like the way he just expects us to accept absurdism with no question. It's just this is the weird way things are. It was like he took us from that film.
Yep. Yeah, he added like a bit of how do you say, like the noir.
Yeah.
From the 50s and 60s.
But the style is unmistakably...
Yeah. Like the narrative style that he uses is definitely this. Like he added like the impairing eeriness of noir, you know? And the mystery and the uneasiness to it. But it's like completely surreal. It's like I had to say, I was thinking about this. We were in the swimming pool and just like talking for a while. I really appreciate that we have been doing this for years at this point, because the more cinema that we watch, the more I realize about like these kind of patterns. And I'm not like demeriting like Lynch or Trier or anyone, but it's like the more that I recognize that it's like they were like people that they were doing amazing stuff, that it was like extremely raw and unfiltered, like back then, and it was hard to consume. But it's like by nowadays standards, it's like you can compare, you can see like how this influenced like some other incredible auteurs later.
And it's almost like, you're going to hate me for this, but these directors, Buñuel, Bergman, Tarkovsky, they were purer voices, and then these modern directors like David Lynch, even David Fincher, even Quentin Tarantino, they kind of found a way to take these styles and this like storytelling techniques and like merge it with the mainstream, and that's why it's so popular. Because imagine like Lost Highway. Do you remember I can't remember the name of the character. He's like Mr. Nobody, the creepy gray man.
Yeah.
Like imagine if in the Discreet Charm, the priest was as creepy as that guy. It would have been a David Lynch film, exactly.
Well, you would have to change like a bit more the tone. It's like
a little bit though.
Well, but the thing is, just if you think about it, Buñuel is very, very no frills kind of directing. Is that there is barely no music, there is no like heavy-handed elements. Everything is more like around the narrative and the acting, and that's it. There is no like music guiding you. There is no atmosphere that he's trying to build with light and the lights. It's a bit more, it's like, this is happening. That's the reason why I think that is more of a theater play. David Lynch is a bit more about creating atmosphere.
Yeah, so it's a mood.
It's a mood. 100%. So it's not about like, hey, I changed this character here, I put it here, and it's the same thing. It's like, no, Lynch has like a lot of visual push that Buñuel didn't. And I'm not demeriting Buñuel, I'm just saying that it's like, hey, I think that everything is an evolution. And I think that Buñuel was really popular back then. But the same way that David Lynch is, because just think is that David Lynch is not a Marvel movie.
Yeah, he's a cult classic.
Correct.
In Spain, was Buñuel widely acclaimed, or was he more cult classic-y?
He was censored.
That's why he left the Franco regime.
Yeah, that's the reason why he did Viridiana, and we almost don't have it nowadays, because he did it for the Spanish government. With the Spanish money.
So he was not beloved. So would you say he's a little bit like David Lynch, where he had a cult following, but he wasn't accepted by the masses?
Well, it was more like there was no easy way of consuming. He was not a persona non grata, but when the transition happened, it's like people discovered his cinema, and it was like, holy shit, this is one of the best directors ever.
But globally, outside of Spain, he was recognized.
Oh yeah, he was. It's just thing that is like he was in Mexico, and then he's like, or Mexico was like, yeah, just come here. It's like we already know like a Chen Andaluz, the Andalusian dog.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it. No.
Yeah. But it's like one of the most iconic sequels. Like 10 photographs.
Yeah.
But it's like everyone knows that scene. That's the part that is like he was like super influential, super well known. In Spain, is like because of the censorship, it was like completely pushed away. Yeah. So, but that doesn't mean that it was not accepted. It was more of a different circumstance.
It just wasn't known.
Yeah, but it's like just think that during the time when he was releasing like something like Discreet Charm on the Bourgeoisie in '72, or Belle de Jour in '68, I think that it was. Is that this guy was popular and he was really well respected, but also at the same time he could have compete with whatever Hollywood was releasing. I honestly think that it would be like a similar situation to what David Lynch was for us during the 90s and 2000s.
Do you think, though, that Hollywood was releasing anything in 1972 as interesting as Discreet Charm?
No. I'm saying just from a box office perspective.
Okay.
From people...
Just getting in front of audiences.
Correct. Yeah, but it's like the same thing. It's like David Lynch could announce that it's like, I'm releasing a new movie like in 6 months. Is that we'll be going crazy, like holy shit, we need to watch this. But most people are going to be like, well, what is that? Is that like part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And I know we are mentioning like Marvel a lot, but I just say is like we cannot compare like from that perspective. That these are amateurs. These are like people that they are taking cinema in a more creative way. more like exploring the medium and pushing it
playing
forward.
with the art form.
Correct. And the other ones is just using it for entertainment, and it's like there is nothing wrong with that. But I think that Buñuel was in the boat of, hey, I'm doing something good, and people around that time, they actually thought, like, yeah, this is something good, but we are not going to be like making millions of dollars out of these productions.
And I think fundamentally, it's important to understand what type of movie goer you are. I actually had this illuminating conversation with my uncle when I was like, I don't know, 19, and he could only classify movies as happy or sad. And I came to realize from that conversation that he's the type of person that goes to a movie to see a happy movie, a comedy, or a sad show. That's it. But when you understand that you're the type of moviegoer that goes to see somebody that's playing with the art form and pushing it further than it's been and making you question things, and maybe it's not the perfect experience, but I think that's why you and I go to the cinema, so that's why this film is a huge success, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't disagree, and I really like that perspective. But I also just think, I mean, I watched like quite a bit of movies in these last weeks as I was traveling, and I had like other stuff to do. What I realized is that there are movies that they are designed with the idea of making you think, and they can be like a straightforward, or they can be like thought-provoking, And this is one that is going to be like making you think and talk about it. For this, okay, what exactly does it mean? Is there like some kind of figure, like behind on what we are presenting? Like
you might not know, but you can tell there's a deeper meaning. You might not get it, but you're like, no, I have to read about this.
Yeah. One thing is like if you want to see that meaning or not. It's like when my mother was like, I don't care about this. I don't think that there is anything wrong. It's that my mother didn't care about like a movie that it has like a deeper meaning. My mother prefers movies that they are more straightforward, more of a, here is the message, enjoy it.
Well, now I want your mother to watch Mike Leigh films because I feel like she's here's the message, deal with it for 2 hours.
I think that she would like her.
I think your mom would like Mike Leigh films.
I now happy-go-lucky with her. Because I would be interested, and I would like for your uncle to watch like happy-go-lucky and just decide, is this a happy or a sad movie?
Interestingly enough, my family has had fights about this because they see Happy-Go-Lucky as a sad film because there's one conflictive scene. Other than that, she's super happy.
I told you that it's a drama, and you don't believe me.
It's fine. This is the joy of cinema, right? We can go and experience different things. You're just wrong about Mike Leigh, so it's okay. But we can.
Okay, but going back to topic, it's like I think that people, different auteurs use the medium for different purposes, and I think that people like even Lars von Trier, that we love to hate to love, whatever we want to say, or Haneke, Leeds, or Buñuel, Berman, is that they use the medium. They understood that the medium was like a vehicle per se, and is that they could play with this vehicle. They could actually do like creative stuff with it. It doesn't have to be like just following like classic narrative. Like you start here and you present like this super linear story.
And there's conflict, climax, resolution.
Tarantino, for example, is more like that.
Oh yeah, when you look at like Discreet Charm, it's like, oh no, Tarantino plays by the books. I mean, he's good at it. He's great at it.
He's an incredible
But there's nothing that unorthodox.
No, but he's an incredible storyteller. That's the reason what I say is that there is nothing wrong with taking the medium as a straightforward mechanism or taking it in a creative, random way. Both of them, they have value. It's like there are days that I want to watch like a Buñuel movie and it says like, oh my god, this is incredible. What this guy is doing is I've never seen it before, and this has been like 50 years ago. And the other days that I say is like, dude, I just want to watch Death Proof, and I haven't watched it in a very long time, and maybe we should.
Yeah. So I think, well, I always talk about this, that when we score a film, you always have to take into account, or I have to take into account, the difficulty of what they were attempting to do.
Yeah. And
what Buñuel was attempting to do, I think, was extremely difficult, and I think he nailed it.
Yeah, no, on that I agree. And we actually say that we tend to appreciate movies that they try to do something bold, even if they don't succeed. So it's that we appreciate that, but it's that you were also telling me about the guilty pleasures aspect. Is that you can also appreciate that. You won't be saying that it's like this is high-end cinema, but you would say that this was entertaining. I got enjoyment out of it. I can see people that they don't get enjoyment out of Discreet Charm, and I don't think that that's like a character flaw.
Yeah, it's just like what you want out of the movies you're watching.
Yeah.
Most people don't want anything more than a good story told through a superhero or a Tarantino.
Yeah, and this is a story that can be resumed in one sentence. Group of friends try to have dinner. They fail. Should we go over the questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Would you watch it again?
I would watch it tomorrow.
When did you watch it?
Today is Monday, Thursday.
Oh, Thursday. Okay.
Yep.
I watched it like almost 3 weeks ago. Yeah, as soon as I arrived to.
Well, this is a movie that honestly you don't have to remember the details. But it's more about concepts and like ideas. It's not like about who said what when. So.
Yeah, no, definitely that doesn't affect. We will talk about other movies that are a bit more like that. That's for sure. And I'm going to suffer on those. Would you recommend this movie?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think this is one of my favorite examples of absurdist cinema.
Yeah, I would recommend it too. It's like I was a bit torn, like with my parents, I did the exercise of watching it with them. My father was like, this was pretty good. It's like the guy was not tired of just like giving punches left and right. Like Buñuel, about like criticizing a bit the church, criticizing a bit the rich, criticizing a bit the stupid, criticizing a bit the military,
and Latin America.
Latin America, yeah, tiny bit there, putting it in there. Would you remember the movie?
I'm gonna say no. I remembered the iconic scenes, but I didn't remember details of characters, anything very specific. No.
Oh well, okay. I'm going to be like cheating because at the end it's like I think would I remember like the general parts of the plot, and the answer is yes. Group of friends try to have dinner, they can't.
So you remember the sentence. Remind me, how many times have you seen this?
This is the first time. I thought that I had watched it, but no, I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more Spanish than you.
Yes, you are. Like... Yes, watching like a Mexican.
You're like the new Spanish Quintiquentada, and I'm like
not the classics. Not
you know, the French Spanish.
Yeah. Is there anything artistic about this movie?
Yeah, I think he's an extremely strong storyteller, especially in that he knows exactly what he wants to say and exactly how to show it. I've never seen a director. Well, we can talk about this, but maybe Yorgos Lanthimos, but he's so secure in his idea of the world he wants to create.
Yeah.
That's very uncommon. And I think the actors were fantastic. The script writing was great.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the directing, especially for just something like so surreal about like how the characters, how the actors can roll with it, and just like making it believable, I think that is great. Yeah. So it's a strong directing. It's not like super heavy-handed. That's what I was telling you. Is that I like that he doesn't use music in an abusive manner. He's a bit more of I have this vision. I don't need like any other supporting mechanisms.
No laugh tracks.
Laugh tracks. Yeah, we watched so many movies with laugh tracks. I had to wonder like why laugh tracks were never a thing in comedies.
In Spain?
No, in anywhere. In comedies, in comedy movies.
Oh, it's just a TV thing, right?
It's a TV thing.
Interesting.
It's almost like the TV watcher needs help for just knowing what is fun and what is not. Yeah, but the moviegoers, no, those are smart. Yeah, those are smart. Is it a timeless piece?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
There are some things that are timely within it, like in regards to like classes and like technology, but the themes are timeless, 100%.
Yeah, the theme is like as long as we have a capitalist society, is that there is always going to be classes, as we know. Even if it was like socialist or communist, there will be classes. So from that perspective, a class discriminating, the other ridiculizing them, being corrupt.
That's a tale as old as time.
Yep. Would you turn this into a TV show?
No. This movie, in my mind, is so perfect in its place in film history that I would never alter it.
Yeah, I don't even know how. Even like just thinking as an exercise about like how you could stretch this is that would it be like each one of these vignettes it would be like 30 minutes, but I think that knowing that you have like 15 more minutes for seeing them not having dinner,
Now that you mention it that way, I feel like if Ingmar Bergman turned this into 6 one-hour episodes, I could be super into it. I'm still going to say no.
Okay.
But I can see how there might be some source material that you would expand.
Alright, no, I'm going definitely with not. Could this have been a short? Like a 50-minute short?
It could have been shorter 100%, but I don't think it could be less than an hour.
I'm going to go with yes. I'm going to go with yes because I had the feeling that you could cut some pieces, but this is a bit more as an exercise more than actually like could you deliver the same message and the same experience with less than an hour? Probably not exactly the same, but at least like the core aspect of it. I just pick like 4 of these.
I don't think that's crazy. It could be done, but yeah. I guess I would want to stay in this world for longer than 60 minutes.
Yeah, that's fair. Do you think this movie could have been better?
I'm gonna say no. I'm not gonna no.
No.
Period.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that there is anything that I would be like just changing like straight. There is nothing like glaring that some other times that we say is like, look, the script, this part was garbage. You know, this dragged like a very long time. This was like a lot of stuff that it could be removed. In this case, it's like, look, the guy had a vision, the guy had an idea, he pushed for it, and he's succeeded. It made me think about Bergman on that aspect. You know, about like how
Birdman or Bergman?
The director.
Okay, I didn't know if you were talking about Birdman.
Oh, the movie.
Yeah.
No. It actually confused me about like what Birdman. Because I also had the feeling that he was more of a had this idea of this movie that I want to do, and he already had like this visual idea on his head, and everything was about like portraying that visual image in his head into celluloid.
I get the impression that Buñuel is genuinely a master, just like Tarkovsky. Well, how I feel Tarkovsky is, Ingmar Bergman, fucking Italian guy.
Mastroianni?
No, the director.
Oh, the Antonioni.
Antonioni.
Yeah.
Besides blow up, but you can tell he has those like fundamental cinema. Like he's a master of cinema.
Yeah. He knows the medium, and it was like I think that at that time it was like easier to experiment with it, you know. And now I still think that directors, and I know that you're not going to like this, but it's like even Gaspar Noé. I feel like he experiments with the medium quite a bit.
No, I agree completely.
Yeah. So it's like. The result and why he experiments with it is a different thing, you know?
The success of his experiments are less than Buñuel's.
Correct, that's true. And the complexity of the ideas that he wants to portray, it may not be as high as Buñuel's.
Yeah.
You know? But it's still like, you still have directors that experiment. So...
Lars, Haneke, Lynch.
Yeah. Gaspar Noé.
Fincher, to a more mainstream extent.
Yeah. Leo Carax. You may not like him, but I think that
but he is playing with the medium in a very inappropriate way.
Okay, should we score the Discreet Charm?
Yes, this was my pick, so you have to score.
I'm going to go with an 8.5.
I knew that would be your score, and mine is a 9. I think this is both good and important, and the context of the passage of time has proved that this is a great film.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I was just checking that I gave an 8.5 also to The Exterminating Angel. And for me, it's like this, I like The Exterminating Angel a tiny bit more, but I don't think that this is worse than The Exterminating Angel. It's more like The Exterminating Angel, it has like this, like, pressure of how they degrade in a linear kind of manner. And on this one, it feels like a movie that I could have started in one scene and ended in any other. You could have reshuffled like some of the scenes and nothing would have happened.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and it's not that it's better or worse, it's just that for me it clicks a tiny bit less.
But I understand the opinion of liking it, but you don't think either one was better in terms of filmmaking or storytelling?
Of his storytelling? I think that Exterminating Angel is better for storytelling.
Huh?
But I was going to say, like, it's simpler. It's like, no, it's not simpler than, hey, we're going for dinner, and we can have dinner. The other ones, at least they have dinner, and now they cannot leave. But it's pretty funny that these two movies are directed by the same director. That is like, hey, you really like the idea of dinner parties gone wrong.
Yeah, he clearly had like an idea. I wonder if something happened in his childhood or like...
No, but I think that is more. He probably Wusu was like Los Olvidados, the Forgotten, I think it is called. He plays a lot with the classes, and one thing that probably is very iconic about like when the problems of specific classes get displayed is when you get like a lot of those people like together for just like doing something that they all share. In this case, like these dinner parties is a bit more of it is like the perfect setup for me to just like play with different archetypes, because at the end the characters are just that, is that we don't care too much about like where they come from or where they're going.
But it's interesting that when we watched Viridiana, I felt like that was extremely critical of the low class, and I
The
felt
high
like
class too.
to a much lesser extent, much lesser. But I felt like Discreet Charm was very critical of the middle class, so maybe he only likes the high class.
So, like an exterminating angel.
Yeah.
When they start decorating and they start saying that, like, let's kill him.
So he hates all classes.
Yeah,
Alright.
he hates people.
Right, I like
Maybe
it.
that's the case. But he likes it in a bit more of sophisticated manner than
Right.
Trier.
He's like polite rude.
Exactly, yeah. Alright, so for the next one, that's going to be my pick.
Your pick.
It's going to be my pick, and just remaining like a bit on the absurd, quote unquote. We're going to be watching a movie that I think that I threatened you like many times to pick. That is The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Threaten me? I love that film.
I know, but I've been mentioning it almost since we started recording this podcast because I really like it. We watched like most of the couple movies. Sorry, most of the couple movies.
And this is Spike Jones.
No, it's not. It's Country. With
Oh,
Charles
fuck.
Country.
I always confuse those. Damn it. Alright, well. Until next time.
Okay, bye.